What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about The Knife. Oh, the shark bait has such teeth. No, not Mac the Knife, just The Knife. Uh, so Mackie is not back in town. This is just a completely different movie. It does not have audio description that I know of. It's kind of a little bit of an indie movie, although they did manage to get Melissa Leo, so props. There's an Oscar nominee here. Just shout out to Melissa Leo. And also Manny Jacinto, who has been getting a lot of attention recently with various projects like Freakier Friday. He was in The Acolyte, so his career is expanding. He has less here to do than Melissa Leo, and there's also a family. But Melissa Leo is obviously the biggest star here, although the technical lead of the film is an actor whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce until I hear more people pronounce it. And he's also the guy that I think wrote, directed, and starred in a Hulu movie from last year called She Taught Love, which I did not like. I didn't understand why the chapters were broken into she, taught, and love. I thought that was so silly. I was like, what is happening in this movie? But luckily, he's much better in this than he is doing like romantic dramas. So this movie is terrible and great at the same time. It's terrible in the fact that I'm like 99% sure that this is not like accurate in terms of legalities and police, the way like cops work. But at the same time, and like there are things that'll frustrate you. You're like, why don't you call a lawyer? You don't have to. You can, where at a certain point Melissa Leo's character just seems so not in anybody's favor, but she keeps going, I'm just trying to help you out here, just trying to get to the truth, just trying to do, just why don't you just help me get, we just, you know uh so what is this story? Well, there's a dad who's played by the writer director star. And he has a family, a wife and two daughters and a baby, so like three kids. And they live in this house. He's like a construction worker. She's a teacher. They bring up those facts later on. Um, an interesting fact that you need to know about one of the daughters is that she's really uncomfortable with lying. She does not believe in lying. She's like, her morality level is high. She's gonna bite people in the ass later on. So, uh, one night, well, Dad takes medicine. He takes like a concoction of medicine that is not supposed to be mixed with alcohol, but he still drinks anyway. And one of the kids remarks that they can smell the alcohol on him, and he's like, go to bed. He doesn't seem that drunk. He just has had a beer or two, maybe, tops. He's definitely not drunk. Like, no. If he's trying to play drunk, he's really bad at it. And before bedtime, he hears somebody in the kitchen, goes and discovers there's just this like random woman in the kitchen, and just, it doesn't have audio description. I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she's doing like a dance or something, but I think she's probably just standing there. And then he kind of blacks out, so he doesn't actually remember how he attacked her, which doesn't help. And then she's on the floor, like she's been attacked, and he's, he's survived whatever happened, whatever the hurt him trying to get her out of the house. He's fine. The intruder's not. They call 911, but also for some reason they feel like that he needs to, they're worried, or he's worried or whatever about how this looks. I don't know why. I mean, I just assume all of this, even though they never directly talk about it, has everything to do with the fact that the core family here is black. Has to be. He's writing it from a perspective of a black man with a black family. And this is the takeaway of why Black people don't trust cops. So he does put a knife in the hand of the intruder that wasn't there before. And that is when sort of everything changes for them. But it shouldn't, because normally cops, I don't think, are fucking Melissa Leo level here. She comes into the house and because they called 911 and like, well, we had an intruder and we got her knocked unconscious or whatever. So they come in and the hospital takes her off and they take her to another. And Melissa Leo comes in as the head detective, and she is suspicious from like the moment. She's like, something here doesn't add up. And it's like, what about this doesn't add up, that Black people own homes? Like, what about what is going on with you? Because you're asking, she is immediately turning the victims into criminals without really much effort. She doesn't really know much. She's just using her spidey senses to be like, something here is wrong. Black people, one of them must be a criminal. The suggestion of like being in the neighborhood. Is there anything in the house that she would have wanted to break in for, like drugs, or like that kind, like there's just all these accusations, and Melissa Leo does it in this way. It's actually kind of a brilliant performance because she does it in this really sort of like menacingly nice way, where she's like, I just want to help, the alternative is that we could go down to the station and do everything down there. But it's just this very like sort of like sweet, smiley woman who is also really fucking up everything and clearly is not on anybody's side, which is what so frustrated me. I was like, do you not have a lawyer? Do you not like, I don't understand how a lot of this flew, like a lot of what she was doing flew by. She questions the kids who are minors, and she does it, I think, in the presence of the parents or not in the presence. There's one time that I didn't fully understand what was happening, again because lack of audio description, with one of the kids, because mom was clearly over with the baby. So I don't know if anybody was even in the room with the first kid. And mom seems to react based on the interview of the first kid, about, and seeing how her first kid was interviewed about, don't interview my second kid. So Melissa Leo is just like digging at this story, but it's like, their house was broken into. Who gives a shit if he drank beer? Who gives a shit what happened? Who gives a shit if he fucking did anything? There was an intruder in the house that wasn't supposed to be there. She's not dead. She's just in the hospital. Like, she's, I guess, might die. Always possible. But hasn't. And you're doing like overly unnecessary levels of investigation, which kind of makes the film interesting, but also, so I really liked the film, but I was also deeply frustrated with it at the same time because I hated Melissa Leo the whole time, but I also thought she was doing a great job. I'm very divided on this movie because the film never comes out like straight up and says racism is the cause. But I can't imagine that this is, it's not like it's based on a true story and like 100% factual and accurate and this is the real thing, this is the real deal. It's obviously somebody's representation of what happens, why people don't call cops, why there's no like trust level there. So Melissa Leo doesn't necessarily make a good case for calling 911. Melissa Leo makes a good case for burying the body in the backyard. Because if she comes to your house the victim will become the criminal. She will find it, and you will be guilty of something. By God, she will make sure that I came here and I will leave with one member of this family being the criminal. So, she's bound and determined to just keep clawing and scratching and getting at and tearing at the story until she gets some shred that she can hold up and be like, aha! I can tell that the truth is just, nobody wants to tell me the truth. And it's like, I don't know, because you're being a bitch. Possibly. Maybe that's it. Like, there, like, she immediately, and there's something about, like, she says something about, like, where she calls the person the victim. And I'm like, of what? She broke into the house. It's that gag that they did all the way back in Liar Liar where um, Jim Carrey was talking about, talking to his assistant about, like staying there, and she was sort of hinting at her friend had um, somebody who broke into her house and injured himself and while breaking in, right? So like a burglar broke in and injured himself, and he, she was like, "Do you think that that's right that he was able to sue her for damages, even though he was breaking the law and burgling the house?" And Jim Carrey jokes and was like, "I could have gotten him more," like because he's on that liar liar thing. It's kind of like that, where they're like, oh no, there's a random white lady on the ground. She's the victim. This isn't her house. What are you talking about? Like, what is happening in this movie? So, if you haven't seen The Knife, it's frustrating and great at the same time. It's actually really well done. It's way better than She Taught Love. Like, it's infinitely better than that. So, but it is deeply frustrating, and I'm fairly certain that if you're watching this from a procedural standpoint, that there are things that are happening here that just have no legal basis, that have no like actual like cop procedural, like, well, she wouldn't be able to do that. That wouldn't hold him in court because she didn't do that correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't feel like it's authentic in that way. But man, Melissa Leo really gets under your skin. It's one of probably the best supporting actress performances I've seen this year that isn't going to get a nomination because she just is. There's no way you can't forget her. She's so devious, but also she makes you really believe that she's just there to do her job. But then at the same time, you're like, she just can't possibly be there. It's about the unspoken that's in this, like what is under the surface, what is really driving her. And you never know that. You never know what really drives her. Is it the truth, or is it the fact that this is a Black family? And the fact that that's never explicitly stated throughout the course of the film is actually, I think, what makes The Knife great. It doesn't have audio description, but aside from a couple scenes where I was like, who's in the room and who's watching, in the sort of initial attack, I was able to follow a lot of it because most of it was just interrogation sequences. Like once you get past sort of the catalyst of the movie, it's just Melissa Leo asking questions. So once she takes over the film just takes off. So I was captivated and angry. I felt so many different things at the time, and I was just like, I I don't fully know what the message here was, but I think there's a lot of subtext. I think there's a lot of there's this context that's given at the top and specific uh, things that the movie is doing to guide it in a certain direction and to build the case. I didn't spoil it because I didn't tell you how the movie ends. But most of the movie is Melissa Leo asking questions and getting answers. So I think if you haven't seen The Knife, I think you should check it out. It's worth it. Especially even without audio description, it's a pretty high grade for a not for a non-documentary. Usually, the scores that I give when I don't have audio description are kind of prohibitively low or on the cusp because honestly, I'm missing a lot. But I was kind of engaged with this. Like, we know who done it, but Melissa Leo's just not satisfied. It's like its own genre of film, like the who didn't do it but will have done it by the time the movie is over. Uh, yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna give The Knife a 7.7 out of 10. I really like this movie. If it had audio description, it'd probably be higher. If it had audio description, I think it'd probably be my top 25 of the year. Legitimately, because of how it becomes a talk piece. It becomes the kind of thing that you could watch with your friends and be like, "What the fuck? What is going on here?" Like, it becomes the kind of thing that can drive a conversation. And the fact that it's just like indie film, where Melissa Leo is not even the lead, but is the biggest cast member. I mean, it's Melissa Leo too. It's not, thank you, Julia Roberts. I mean, or this isn't Zendaya. There isn't like some massive Timothy Chalamet didn't stumble into this film. So it's just a character actress who's great in every single role she's ever done. And she just walks in here and just owns it. And God, I hated her character though. But I think I was supposed to. And that's what's brilliant about it. Anyway, so check it out. Melissa Leo's great in this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.